So that's why basically we made this interview. So this interview so that we can extract as much information as we can.
Okay, got it.
Just
So which grade are you guys in?
Grade 10.
Okay. All three of you?
yeah.
So, but aren't you guys too young to work on a thing like this? I've never heard of kids doing it at this
Basically,
age.
we're doing our IGCSE board this year, and we have a subject, Global Perspective,
Okay.
in which we have to take up a topic and we have to do something
Yeah,
towards
it's
it.
basically the third component in the subject, which is called the group project.
Okay.
So we choose so we basically choose from a broad range of topics. So we picked education for all, right?
Yeah.
So now what we want to do is looking at the Indian scenario, we want to know what we can do to NGOs to help them most. And that too, we actually want to help NGOs because people have said stuff like money laundering and all comes.
Yeah.
So we want to know, like, is that actually true and everything? Because these are all assumptions that we've been told by somebody else.
See, I somehow feel that, take any field, why just education? And take any kind of an organization, why just an NGO? People are doing a lot of good work, but then there are people who are taking advantage of certain norms, certain flexibilities. So, it's like taking the bad with the good, that kind of a thing. So you can't really say that everybody doing this kind of work is doing the right kind of work or honest work. But then having said that, that doesn't mean that we should stop doing good work, right? So by and large, I feel that if you look at the current scenario, at least my experience so far has been the people I've interacted with, the kind of people I've interacted with, especially in a place which is as cosmopolitan as Gurgaon. Everybody really wants to do their bit. NGOs, at least at our level, when it's people like us who are educated, who are comfortable, I'm financially comfortable. I'm satisfied with what I have in life. Even if I have more money today, I really wouldn't know where to put it, right? So, bye baby. So, with that kind of a background, if people get into this kind of work, then their sole intent is to do something good. To, take the children a little up in the economic pyramid. So that's the intent. And I haven't really come across people with a different thought line. At least the people I've interacted with. In fact, for me, we had an event at our center today. So, what came out naturally when people were asking me, the biggest takeaway from this place, when they said, when you come here, you work here, what's your biggest takeaway? There were lots of things that were coming to my mind, but actually, what actually came to my mind was that this is one place where I've met not just like-minded, but like-hearted people. We all feel alike. We all believe in giving back to the society. I know it's a very cliched line, giving back to the society, but that's the only way I can put it across. It is a fact, we've got everything that I have today. I've got from this country, from the people of this country, from the economic growth, from everything that's happening around me. Everybody's contributing to my comfort, to my life, to my everyday living. So this is my way of giving it back to the society. And I've come across lots of genuine people. I don't know, I'm sure there are people who are not doing the right kind of work. There must be some there in every profession, every organization. But by and large, in a place like Gurgaon, where the crowd is cosmopolitan, where we are more or less comfortable with what we have today, we actually want to do something nice. Really.
I think that this is an amazing thing that you people have started. And it's a really good idea. And I know that there's another NGO way of Bagya, and all of this stuff is really amazing. Right, ma'am. So basically, as a part of our group project, we have come to the conclusion that education is the foremost problem in India. So how we decided on education was we were looking at the problems in India because we would like our action plan would need to be local. So we were trying to look at the most relevant thing in our society. And we started looking at poverty, we started looking at sanitation, we started looking at
Famine, stuff like that.
Exactly. We started looking at all the general problems which occur. And we were able to realize that if we connect it all down to its root
Comes
cause,
down to lack of education mainly.
all of it comes down to lack of education. Poverty can be traced to lack of education. lack of sanitation can be traced to lack of
See,
education.
that's what,
The
you know,
population can
yeah,
also be traced
you
to
were bringing
education.
it down to lack of education. I was actually trying to move it up together. The solution is education.
Education, exactly.
Right.
So, you know, what you've identified as a problem is what we've identified as a solution.
And the solution,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So you need to solve the problem to be able to solve the other
Yeah, they're all
branching out
related.
problems.
Actually,
Exactly.
you're right. They're all germinating from the same seed, which is lack of education. So you educate the individual, and he becomes aware of everything around.
Exactly.
Everything, you know. I mean, the day I know that it's important for me to be healthy, I'll start looking around for a cleaner environment, and I'll start working towards getting some, you know. So similarly, you know, if I know that I need to be successful in life, I need to be comfortable, I need to be able to look after my dear ones, more importantly myself, then, you know, I'd like to work hard. So obviously, you know, you start working hard, you start striving for something in life, you start preparing yourself for something in life, and poverty becomes history, you know.
Exactly.
You're on the path of progress. So you're right, you know, it's not just literacy, it's education.
Exactly.
It's a complete thing. Literacy is just one dimension of education, you know. Literacy is when, you know, you just get introduced to the concept of education. In fact, when we started NEEV, the idea was just to make a bunch of children literate, because I wasn't aware of my own potential or my ability to move on, to be consistently into this kind of work. You know, I wasn't very sure. It was something very new. It was a totally new territory for me. So I thought, you know, maybe if by making a few people literate, you know, I'll make sure that they can read a prescription on a, you know, a strip of medicine or a bottle, you know. So I just thought, you know, that would help. And maybe they would do their hisab kitab well, so not get fleeced, you know. So that was the idea. But, you know, once I actually started doing this kind of work, my God, you know, the amount of latent potential, the talent that we saw in the children, it was amazing. I mean, it's like, you know, you just teach them the Akshar Mala, you teach them the alphabet, you teach them 3-letter words, a few sentences, the basic tables, and then they say, okay, what's next? So you have to come back prepared and say, okay, let me teach you this, now this, now this. And, you know, then gradually we started identifying the problem areas, which were, you know, like basic hygiene, then, you know, to be able to understand what is self-esteem, how to start respecting oneself before looking out for respect from others, you know, confidence, all of that. We started working on those things, and then we realized, no, baby, it's snowballing into something really huge. You can't just let it be a flake, you know. It has to be much bigger than that. So literacy became passé, and what we had in front of us was a huge challenge. But then, as you said, you know, you start educating them, they start identifying the areas where they need to improve, and they keep coming to you.
Cycle.
Yeah. So it's like one thing leading to another. It's like, what do you say, a chain reaction?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So then that started, and one thing led to another. They started coming back to us with new questions. They became inquisitive, they became ambitious. So, you know, we had to start thinking out of the box. We had to, you know, start thinking how to go around the roadblock. And rest is history. You know, we started with one thing. Her mother, she teaches amazing dance steps to the children, and they pick it up like this. I mean, I'm telling you, I've attended your mom's dance and music shows. I've been going there year after year. And trust me, I enjoy, I mean, I'm telling you as an audience, I'm not saying because I'm a part of NEEV. I'm saying that, you know, because just as an audience sitting there, you know, I really enjoy the item done by our children the most. It has the maximum energy. They have no inhibitions, no reservations. They are not looking out for anything but for an applause.
This was a program which was going on, done by the children.
Yeah, so our children did an item at her mother's dance school's annual event.
Okay.
You know, so they've been doing it year after year. So every time.
Was this in patio?
No, this was at Epicenter.
Oh, okay.
So her mother does it on a very large scale, you know, at annual event.
Yeah.
And our kids perform there. They do one item every year. And believe you me, I mean, as I said, you know, as a part of the audience, I always come back home feeling that yes, it was the best. They have the maximum energy, if you see. Yeah? They have energy, they have no reservations. and they really want a big applause from the audience. So
They
they
just
give
do
it their
it for
best.
the-
Yeah, totally uninhibited.
Alright, ma'am. So if I can get a little background about how the NGO works, do such NGOs like yours, do they on ground teach children at centers, or how does it work out? Because we can't, to be able to understand how we're supposed to help NGOs, we need to first understand their working.
Okay, so I'll tell you what we are doing. Ours is an informal school. It's a parallel school,
Okay.
right? So we're not really affiliated to any board.
Okay.
But what we do is, like, we enroll our children online. So we take them through their NIOS exam. First class 8 OBE exam, and then class 10th NIOS, and then 12th NIOS. Right? So right now our senior most batch is class 11th.
Okay.
Who've cleared their OBE, who've cleared their NIOS, and now they're in 11th, and we plan to take them through their class 12th NIOS exam. And our complete package has 3 dimensions, which is vocational training, education, and health. So that's the complete program. Now, what we are doing is, initially, yes, it was difficult. We used to go and counsel people, encourage them to send their children to us, so that we could make them literate. But now it's like, by word of mouth, and also by looking at others' children doing well in life, to be able to speak English, to be able to do all the hisab kitab, as I said, to be more, informed when they go to a retailer to pick up something. So looking at all those things coming in others' children, their neighbors, they've all got excited, so they come to us with their children saying, please admit our child.
So do the parents, do they actually approach the NGO and ask their children to enroll? Or
Absolutely.
do you guys have to convince the parents?
No more.
So that's not a problem in
That's
the
not a
But
problem.
earlier
Not at all.
there used to be a problem that the
Parents wouldn't want their children.
Yes, so as I said, to begin with, I mean, you know what, these people, they come from the villages. And they thought that initially, when they looked at us, they thought, these women must be doing some sort of black magic, So otherwise, why are they calling our children? Why are they giving our children food, So they were a little worried, I would say. And, if I were that unaware, unexposed, I would have probably felt the same way, So, but once they started coming to us and they started learning, and, they started going back home,
So
being able to speak a few words of English. Yeah, and when the children, they had an access to TV. So instead of watching Salman Khan, they started looking out for cartoons or Discovery Channel, So the parents could see the difference.
Yeah.
Okay? They could see the difference in the children when they became particular about their hygiene. I mean, earlier they would not take a bath for days at length. And then every morning they would get up, take a bath, go to the washroom, brush, get ready for school. So, with all those changes setting in, the parents started, I think the parents have also started dreaming a little big. They've started dreaming beyond just like, okay, मैं driver तो मेरा बच्चा driver, मैं gardener तो मेरा बेटा gardener, मैं mason तो वो mason. Now they've become ambitious for their children. So now they've started pushing their children to our school. So they've become a very important part of their development, They are participating, if not equally, to a very large extent. So that infection, the good infection, has started spreading to other parents
So
as
the
well.
locals have become familiar with the idea of the NGO.
Yeah, and they've seen us being there, for the last 7 years.
So can sorry, please.
So they know we are not those fly-by-night operators. We're not doing any harm. We're doing a lot of good to the children. So, and the children